All right, folks, today we're going to be talking on how to program a Fidelio device for HI or VI service, that is hearing impaired and visually impaired. The components that you're going to need is a Fidelio tablet and Fidelio RX, which is a Fidelio receiver, and you're also going to need a headphone. Before you start, always ask guests on what movie they are watching and what auditorium they're in. You will need to know that information in order to correctly program the devices. Before you start, always make sure that your Fidelio tablet is running this Do-Re-Mi software. If this is not on the screen, always click on your home button, which is right over here in the center, and you will have these 4 options on the top. Click on the one that says Fidelio in the center, and it will start your Fidelio software, and it will start saying looking for Fidelio receiver. At this point, take one of your Fidelio RX device from the charging port and put it on the configuration port. And as you can see, it starts reading, identifying Fidelio receiver. And once it identifies, it shows you the last auditorium that it was configured, last service that it was configured, and the battery level. Always make sure when you're handing over a device to a guest that it is 100%. That way it does not die during the movie or anything like that. Battery does last pretty long time, but it is always safe to make sure that it is 100%. To program it, let's say our guest is in auditorium 1 and they want a hearing impaired service. So what you're gonna do is, this is currently programmed for auditorium 7. We're gonna click on change, and we're gonna select the auditoriums. Over here, we only have 8 screens at these locations. That's why you only have 8 blue boxes, and you can see all the rest of the letters are grayed out. If your location has more or less screens, you're gonna have number of boxes over there. So over here, I'm gonna click on number 1, and it's gonna change the auditorium on the RX receiver to be auditorium number 1, as you can see right over here. Now over here, as you can see, right now it's channel 1A, and it says in the parentheses HI, which stands for hearing impaired. This is correctly programmed at this point for hearing impaired. Let's say a guest has requested to be a visually impaired. What you do is you just click on change, and over here you're gonna still stick to channel 1. As you can see over here, these are all channel 1 and these are all channel 2. We always program everything on channel 1. There should not be anything on B. So if you want a visually impaired, you see there is a channel 1B, it says VI-N, that's for the visually impaired. And you also notice there is a third option, which is stereo. When you program Fidelio RX as a stereo, what it will do is on one of the headphone ears, you will hear the actual movie dialogues. On one of the other headphone ears, you will hear the description. So it's 2 in 1. So again, to go over, HI is only hearing impaired. Both the ears, you're gonna hear the actual dialogues. If you go with 1B, which is VI, you will only hear description from both the ears. And if you go channel 1 stereo, then you will hear both services, one from each ear. Now you need to specifically ask customer what they prefer, and that's what we program. So if a guest, let's say for this feature, asked us for a visually impaired, I'm gonna click on the VI, and as you can see, always wait for the screen to go away and come back. That way you know the receiver did program 100%. And now it says auditorium 1, channel 1B, and VI, and that's it. At this point, I'm gonna take the receiver out. I'm gonna show the customer how to power it on. It's press and hold the button, and or press and hold the button again to turn it off. And then on here, you wanna show guests how to increase the volume or decrease the volume, and always hand them a headphone. Make sure your headphone is in a good condition, not a broken wire, not a broken cushion or anything like that. And you just plug it into this port over here, and now customer can go in the auditorium and use this service. Guests can also choose, if they have their own headphones, they can plug in. They are not required to use our headphones. It's always a good practice that once the movie is about to start, you go into the auditorium and check with the guests to see if everything is working and if they're happy with the service. That's all for today. Thank you for joining.